preparing for a housing market downturn. Today, I'm joined by Michaela and Tony Anaka, who are letting estate agents, also professional landlords, and Michaela also runs a Facebook group of over 7,500 landlords in the UK. None of us knows what's going to be happening in the UK property market moving forward, certainly since the disastrous budget of the Trust budget and the Quarantine budget of September 22. The newspapers every day have been saying the housing market's on a precipice. Up until June 23, the housing market seems to be doing okay, but none of us know what's going to happen. And I'm a firm believer that you plan for the worst and hope for the best. So for the boys and girls out there in letting and estate agency land, what advice would you give to someone to prepare for the worst? Go, talk to me.
Okay, so I think that as crisis management is my forte, actually, I think that you have to start looking. You have to start looking at your structure of your business, your finances and all that, and start to make cuts. Because if the business is not coming in, you need to make some cuts. But also, you can also work on other creative ways of getting business in. I mean, like, for example, during the lockdown, business just stopped. I actually managed to get more landlords during that period of time. So sometimes you can work it to your advantage, and perhaps look at what the services you're offering, how can you change them for the market downturn, you know? Things will get better. You just have to be patient, and so you just have to work with what you've got, really.
I mean, certainly. I mean, I've done the 08 downturn, and I did the early 90s downturn as well when I was just starting. I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
The estate agents, you're actually going to have to start bringing people back and building relationships up with people. Yes. Lettings, you know, it doesn't help that we've got Section 24 and a lot of landlords are leaving the business. Although interestingly, because I'm a bit of a statistician myself, there's still plenty of landlords coming in. It's just that the sentiment is that the balance has moved.
Yeah, it's changing.
I think up until a couple of years ago, we were probably gaining the equivalent of 12 landlords, and let's just use the numbers are irrelevant. Yeah. We were gaining 12 or 13 landlords and losing probably 6 or 7. Yeah. The net effect is that we're still growing. It's gone the other way, hasn't it? And I know you run a Facebook group, but again, if you don't mind me saying, probably the sort of landlords that will join a landlord Facebook group are probably the ones that, in terms of their mindset, are more likely to be the ones that might be leaving because they're highly geared and they want to. I'm just making assumptions here, but no, you've got to remember 6 out of 10 buy-to-let properties are owned by people without a mortgage.
Well, I did a little survey. I did a little bit of a survey, but it's not a proper survey, as Tony says.
I saw that survey.
Yeah, and quite a few landlords are holding, but they're not buying anymore, which is what we're doing at the moment.
Because they're not building anymore, not making land anymore, are they?
No.
And the simple fact is that rents have gone up double digit every year for the last couple of years. That can only be a good thing, can't it?
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. But
it's not for the tenant. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
But if you are, I mean, we're not really highly geared, but the issue is if you're over 50% geared, you are really suffering with Section 24 at the moment, because Section 24 is just a nightmare. And I mean, we do have quite a lot of fixed loans, which will really affect us once they come off of that. But I think that if I think back to like 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 6, the rates were 6, 7, 8% anyway. So we were used to that.
I think we just, as they say, you've just got to almost get through the system, and almost it becomes the new norm.
Yeah.
If you'd have said a 5-year fixed rate on a buy to let would be 4.5%, which is roughly what it is now. If you'd have said that a year ago, people would have been running around like headless chickens, wouldn't they? And again, I know we said about being a letting agency, but again, I think it's important that if you're dealing with landlords, you've got to be thinking like this. And I think that's important for letting agents, is that they've got to start thinking like landlords, even if they're not landlords.
Yeah.
Does it surprise you that letting agents don't talk about the property market and what the options are for landlords? Because you're both a landlord and a letting agent, so you can speak their language. Why do you think most letting agents don't do that?
I think that I think there's this thing that when you're a letting agent, what you think in your head is not actually what the people are looking for. And you think in your head, they want to know how good you are, how great your sales are and all that lot. And actually, they're not really interested. And it's taken me years to learn that one.
Okay. If only there was someone on social media that's been telling them that for bloody years.
Yeah, I know.
Landlord famine.
No. What was actually interesting?
Don't talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Put yourself in the position of your client.
Tell them about the property market. Yeah.
What I saw, actually, so I'm going to give you a bit of credit now, Christopher. What I saw on the landlords group, we normally don't allow people to post on the landlords group any type of business, okay? But Alex, who's one of my helpers on the group, one of my admins, he actually allowed you to post. So he must have been interested in what you had written.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see how many views we had of that post where you were talking about the market and stuff like that. And actually someone came on there and thanked you. These are landlords. This group is landlords.
Because I can't sell to landlords.
No.
Because I sell my things to letting agents.
Yeah, so I think that Alex had worked that out. So the next one I posted myself. But it was interesting to see the landlord's attention that you'd grabbed. And it's kind of like, when you are doing something and someone comes along and they say, look, this will work for you. And you think, no, it won't, especially if you're stubborn like me. And so it was really interesting to see that. Are the landlords taking any notice? Yes, I think they are.
I think the magic thing is if you're a letting agent, is if you want to grab the attention and the interest, because if you haven't got their attention and you haven't got their interest, they're not going to listen to what you have to say. Like you said, don't talk about yourself. Don't talk about your agency. Don't talk about how big your market share of your willies are. Talk about, and don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer, you should be proud of your market share, but it's a bit like a willy. We should all be proud of it, but when you start waving it in my face, that's when we have a problem. Okay? You like that, don't you? But the magic thing is this: if you want people to pay attention and be interested in what you have to say, talk about what they're interested in. And that's why I do these sofa chats. If I wanted to talk about stuff that I was interested in, I'd be talking about collecting antique medals or collecting whiskey. One of my passions in life is talking to interesting people. That's why you're here.
Yes.
That's how you get on the WatkinSofa. You can't pay to come on here. It costs me money to be here, you to be here, but I do it because I love talking to interesting people. And hopefully you boys and girls in the state agency land will find it interesting. But I think that's the magic thing is this: if you're preparing for a downturn, which was the original question, talk about the stuff that other people are interested in and they will become interested in you. There's opportunities. You don't make the market. You can always get a business out of a market. So you've got to change your mindset, which I think is that a fair conclusion?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you for your time today.
Now, on Kent, we're now shifting into other areas instead of AST. So
Indeed. There's always a market.
You've got to be flexible.
Tony, Michaela, Anaka, thank you for joining me today. You've been exceptional. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.